People, deluded, I'm back again. Fridays equals Q&A days. Thank you very much for your continued questions, especially as we as a worldwide community are going through what we're going through. So without wasting any more time, let's crack on with the questions. If I've missed you out, sorry. I've tried my best. I've given a deadline. By now I've told everybody how you ask questions. So I haven't really got much time or the patience to go over that again, people. So yeah, in fact, you know what? If you're new to this, you know, typically I ask you lot via the YouTube community tab for your questions. So yeah, just keep a lookout for that during the week. And if you're spot on and you're doing your due diligence, you will get your question answered. Pardon me, people, I've been up running on 2 hours sleep, man. I've just been up looking at YouTube vids how to improve myself. But Antonio Banker said, who is the most underrated and overrated player in the whole Emirates era? Now, these questions always make me sit on the fence because I'm not too sure. Overrated. Oh, for God's sake, somebody's fire. Fuck, apologies, people. Let me close my window. Someone's deciding to have a barbecue and deciding for their fire alarm to go off. Apologies, but most underrated and most overrated player. I'd say most underrated. This doesn't really count, but I'd say Santi Cazorla to be fair, because it's only like now since he's left, and you know, with the injury, people are hailing this guy's brilliance. I remember one of my first sort of YouTube videos was about Santi Cazorla and you know how we should rate him a bit more. Excluding that, it's off the top, but I'd maybe say Sagna as well, purely because I think players like that are very underappreciated, because Sagna walks into this team today and makes it a better team. Was he the best technically? No, he was comfortable technically, but I think we miss people like Sagna, people that were just competent, consistent, and we could have faith in that they can play for 10 to 20 games and there's going to be a base level of performance. Of course, Sagna, if we go through his time here, had bad games and whatnot, but consistently right to the end, he was a consistent member at right back. So I'd potentially say somebody like that. Overrated's a tough shout, because I'm trying to stay away from the players that you might typically hear. Overrated's a tough one. Overrated's a tough one. I can't really answer that one, my guy. I've got some in mind, but I don't really want to drop them in it, man. I'd say in present day, maybe not overall, but present day, last couple of years, you'd probably looking at Hector Bellerin, to be fair with you. Probably. So yeah, for me anyways. Moving away from that, thank you for your question and apologies for not being able to answer it to the standard I should or could. Zaka said, if Bellerin was sold whenever the transfer window falls, can you consider that a project that we saw out to the end? Have we ever done that? I think you meant done that with any player in the last 12 years. In fact, do we reap the max rewards? Well, I mean, you know, Bellerin was bought here for a nominal fee if we did have to pay a fee when he was a youth to Barcelona, and you'd probably be looking at 30 million pounds minimum. So I'd say that's a success. You've taken someone that was a winger, made him into a right back. He's made however many appearances for Arsenal, been a member of this first team, been a regular player. He's technically been called up to the Spain national side as well, so he's become that sort of level of player. If you was to sell him, I would say we have reaped the rewards. Of course, I get you, Bellerin. You'd potentially say maybe not so much potential, but there's more to come if he can be fully fit. If him and Arteta can work together to improve him in all aspects, can he go up another level? Provided he stays fit. I share a lot of that. But it depends how you look at it. I'd say we did. Obviously, we didn't get the max. I wouldn't say we got the max rewards for someone like Aaron Ramsey. The man walked out the club for free. But look at how he came as a 17-year-old to how he left. I remember when people actually used to criticise Aaron Ramsey and say he's not good enough for this club, and he left with everybody begging him to stay. So it's evolution sort of thing. Moving forward, Smile Pleaser said, first and foremost, to give you my best wishes during these moments of difficulty. Thank you very much, my guy, man, and I will bounce back. And I hope everybody going through job losses and things like that goes through can get out of this the other side sort of thing. But you said, do you feel that people can come to the conclusion that Wan-Bissaka is better than Trent Arnold simply because he's better defensively and a right back's first job is to defend. I'm relatively new, so I apologise if you have already answered this. I feel people overstate Trent's defensive shortcomings a bit too much. Smile, you said it yourself. I do think that. I do think people overestimate Wan-Bissaka's defensive capabilities as well, and they move like, you know, he's John Terry at right back in his prime when he's still learning. Don't get it twisted, Wan-Bissaka's a quality right back for me, and he's getting better, especially in an attacking sense. I do share you. I do think Trent switches off at times at fullback, but people behave like he can't defend, like he's just, you know, he's going forward, he's leaving mad gaps. His mistakes do happen, like with Wan-Bissaka, mistakes happen. But I think Trent's better than him. I think Trent's better all round, really. In terms of an all round fullback, I think obviously there's attributes. Wan-Bissaka's potentially better at. I think Wan-Bissaka's a bit better 1v1 defensively. Obviously the slide tackles and things like that. But I think Trent's, when you compare that overall sort of game, I think Trent's got a bit more about him. So I think Trent's better than him. But I really F with Wan-Bissaka heavy. And I do feel like with a lot of players, people do overstate things, man. I do think they move like Trent cannot defend, and it's not true. And they act like Wan-Bissaka's defensive capability is up there, Trent's is down there. Trent's attacking ability is up there, Wan-Bissaka is down there. And you know, this is how you get with football fans. So I agree with you for what it's worth, my guy. Moving away from that though, Liam Talks has said, what is your best memory as an Arsenal fan? Where do we go? The two trophies, the two Premier League trophies, I can comprehend and can vividly remember us winning. I'd say them two. Not Wenger's first one because I was alive, but I wasn't old enough to comprehend football as such to that standard. I must have been about 3-4 years of age. But I'd say the two Premier League wins, especially the Invincible. You know, the numerous times we've won the FA Cups. Anything with trophies, really and truly. Recent years, I'd say 2014, because, you know, we was on a barren run and it was nice to just finally end that. And, you know, being in the stadium, being there with my nephew, paying more money than I really had at the time or could afford to spare on some tickets in the whole section, going 2-0 down, thinking it was all for nothing and seeing it turn around, and ultimately the ecstasy of winning is what football is about, man. I'd say 2006 for me, because it ended poorly, of course, with the Champions League and it didn't work out for us. But I think it's a beautiful story, really and truly, because for me, it was lovely. And I used that, for me, obviously we didn't win it, but I used the 06 run. You always hear me say it a lot, and that's a source of pride for me. Why? Because obviously, and I've got to plug the Inter Milan game as well. I remember that vividly when on reduppied them. But back to this now, yeah. I look at that run. I look at that Real Madrid, I look at that Juventus, I look at these runs, and, you know, many people didn't give us a chance in these situations and we still went and got the job done. That consistency, that self-belief in yourselves and for your fellow man is what I really want to see at Arsenal again. So I'd say just really trophies being won in that. You know, in terms of just games, I'd potentially say beating Bayern Munich at home and obviously beating Barcelona at home. Because, you know, us Arsenal fans, we're not in the Champions League no more, but these two teams bully us when we are in it. So it's nice to have a small victory. So I'd say that. In terms of games as well, when Alexis, was it Theo, Alexis and Ozil, they tore apart Liverpool at the Emirates. I'd say that. United, Arsenal tore up United by that same token. There's a couple, man. We could go back even more, but I'm trying to just keep it mad recent. There's a couple more, but yeah, Chelsea victory, mainly the Chelsea one a couple of years ago when Ozil scored and that counter-attack, as well as Alexis, and I believe Theo. I could be wrong on the Theo thing, man, but I would say that, really. Vivian has said, this will be the weirdest one yet. What do you think of Mesut Ozil in a false 9 role in a 4-3-3 setup? It's a fantasy. Best of luck in your endeavours. Thank you very much, my guy. But no, I did that, man. I can see why he'd be absolved of defensive responsibility and things like that, and he wouldn't, you know, he'd be a free role more or less. But while Ozil's obviously got the final ball and stuff, it just wouldn't rub me up the right way. So I'm gonna say no. It's a no from me, dog. But moving away from that one though, 1-1 has said, big up DG, and you've got a barrage of questions. Firstly, you said sorry about losing your job. Thank you very much, my guy, man. We'll get through this. Like I said, I've potentially been sitting in this situation about 2, 3, 4 times in my life already. So, and it was definitely a lot worse in these situations. So mentally I'm a bit better. Financially I'm a bit better. You know, physically I'm a bit better. So, you know, I can't really complain. Someone's always got it worse. I can sit here and cry about things, or I can move on. The world is going to keep spinning regardless of what path I choose to go down, my dude. So love for that, but we'll get through it, man. It will happen again in my lifetime as well. With your other 7 questions, though, you said, what are your expectations of Arteta's Arsenal for the next few years? First and foremost, to get back into the Champions League, to play consistent. For me, to just keep seeing us improve year in, year out. Away from things that really Arteta can't control. I want to see better scouting, a better, you know, trying to get these Haalands and these Osman Dembeles and these Mbappes. Obviously, it can't always happen like that, but Arsenal, we should not be a club that's missing out on every one of these guys, you get. So we need to get something. I want to do what Dortmund's doing and things like that. Obviously, work permits and the league and all these things, are all factors. But I would say that, and the contracts, sort out contracts. I'm not naive to sit here and say a player will never run down his deal here. But I'm hearing certain executives say, you know what, if you're in the last 2 years, you've got to make a decision. That was music to mine and a lot of fans' ears when he came. But we're now seeing Aubameyang, league's top goal scorer, forgive me if I'm wrong, running down his deal. Promising wide man in Bukayo Saka, come from the academy. Deals being ran down right now. So, yeah, man, just to simply put, become a Champions League team again, become a consistent team again, both in the Champions League and the league. Sort out the areas we can sort out, and then by then, you know, as far as you want to go, it all depends on the ambition of the owner and those above Arteta. But for the next few years, become a Champions League team again and remain a consistent Champions League team would be the immediate goals. You've also said, have you thought about entering a team in the Blood Brothers League, DGFC? DGFC will come one day, man, but I'm not too sure it'll be now, really and truly, so no. What do you think can be done to improve the dead atmosphere at the Emirates? I mean, Highbury wasn't exactly, you know, Highbury was magical. Highbury was better than the Emirates, but it weren't exactly the most rocking of grounds and stuff. So maybe I don't want to go as far to say there's a problem with Arsenal fans, but maybe there's something as fans we could do. You know, maybe there could be more standing, or we could look to get standing, because I know a lot of passionate fans want that. But truthfully, I don't know, my guy. But I would love to see it change because, you know, the Emirates does not strike fear into the opponents. Teams, whether it's Old Trafford, whether it's Highbury, whether it's Barcelona and these teams like that, you can win a football match before you've played. Obviously, you need to still go out there and score. But when teams come to a ground that's intimidating, because how many of you have done it? I always give you the example of when we used to play against Broadwater Farm. I saw many of my teammates, from they see the gates and they see the community centre or the painting on the flats and the many blocks and the hoodlums chilling about smoking spliffs. I've seen man's heart, like their heart's not in it, they're gone already. Like when they're seeing hooded up guys watching Farm warm up and stuff, and you're seeing Farm ready. I'm looking at teammates. They've lost already. They've defeated themselves because they're scared of the area, scared of the team. Do you get it? So that same logic, you know, you look at the many United teams. You know, many times, obviously Beckham and Roy Keane and Rooney and all these other United man, I'm sure they had to go out there and dig deep and stuff. But do you know how many times looking at the opposition in the Old Trafford changing tunnel, the game was won. Defenders are looking down because they know they're going to get ripped and all them things there. So while I don't know, my guy, I would love for it to improve because it's not scary, man. And especially, you know, as a team, we typically sit here and allow teams to come and be on the front foot. Back foot. I mean, if you're an opposition team and you've set up 2 banks of 4, you're remaining rigid, you're remaining compact, the team can't break you down, the fans have been shut up already, the team look nervous, half the job is done, really and truly, where, yeah, man, it goes hand in hand, really. We do have our moments, but it's not a consistent rocking atmosphere, and truthfully, I don't know. There must be specialists in that area that know what to do. You've said, do the great saves Leno makes make up for the mistakes he makes? Well, I'd say yes, the great saves outbalance the mistakes he's made, but for me, his distribution could still improve. And obviously, at times, they haven't happened too much, but he's spilt shots and efforts into areas they haven't gone. So I'd say, yeah, it really does. But yeah, man, it'd be nice if he could, let's not make out he's an error-prone keeper, because he's not, but if he could polish up certain aspects, you know, I'm sure a lot of people would welcome that. Moving away from that, though, and you said, which player in our starting lineup, in our starting 11, do we need to get rid of and replace the most? I would potentially say, again, I want Bellerin. I love Bellerin, but I love Arsenal more. I want Bellerin to be the flag bearer for this team. But I do think that's an area we need to look at. If we had the money, if all the other areas were fixed up, I would say right back is a position. You know, Xhaka is being used under Arteta, and I've got a lot of love for Xhaka. But if money was no issue, then I'd potentially bring in another midfielder or two, not just for him, but any couple of others. I would obviously, I've got to throw Aubameyang into that mix because we know he's a quality player, but obviously the contract. So I'd say them. You've said, which big money signing was the biggest disappointment and biggest mistake we've made in the last 5 years? Many people will say Ozil. I don't believe in. I believe if you actually look at what Ozil's done since he's been here, you know, he's been a quality player, really and truly. There's not much. I'm not saying he couldn't do more and things like that, but you get the point. I'm not really too sure in terms of big money, really, off the top of my head now. Because you look at, who would you define as big money? I think let's cut the crap when you cut the agendas. Ozil has been a decent signing for us. Might not have been, you know, scoring 20 goals and things that people wanted. Him, Alexis, Aubameyang have been good signings. Maybe say Lacazette then, I guess, really. And that's harsh because he was our player of the year. Generally, it's just this season he's been bad. But when you look at it, overall, his time here, he's had good moments, but he's... You know, in theory, it was almost doomed before he started. I mean, he's shown he can't score. Yes, he's had injuries and things, but he's shown he can't get 20 league goals minimum, so he can't be that guy. Aubameyang was already brought in 6 months or so within Lacazette's tenure, so we've already clocked it. And it was easy to see why, for a number of years, Wenger kind of had reservations about signing Lacazette. So you'd potentially say Lacazette is on big money. You know, he has helped us, but he hasn't been the flag bearer we really want, sort of thing. And I don't want to throw Lacazette into it either. Like Ozil, I think he's been a good signing, so I'm not really too sure, my dude, really off the top of my head. I'd probably say Mustafi. Because, again, I could sit here and talk about Ozil and talk about these players. There's not really a catalogue of standout performances from Mustafi. They're sporadic. He's not been terrible in every game he's played, but, you know, 35 million. It's only now in what you'd probably say is the end of his Arsenal career that he started to look like a half-decent defender. So I'd potentially say him, to be fair with you. Many people might even throw Xhaka into that, but I don't agree with that, really and truly. You also said, aside from Kroenke's out, what would you choose if you could make one change about Arsenal? Personnel, approach, attitude, anything really? Pardon me, there's not just one thing. I mean, again, I'd say it's difficult to see I'd say, if I could change it, let's clearly define what sort of player we're looking for or the sort of ethos we want, because we're told it. But as a fan, I don't honestly think it's transparent like we can see it. You can see it with the Sakas and Martinellis, but I don't think you can see it consistently. So I'd say that, you know, the Kroenkes is the biggest thing. So I'd potentially say that. I'd really try and find the best scouts we really can and put them in areas that people aren't looking at and make them look at players that they're not looking at. Because, I mean, you know, if you was to look at, I don't know, let's just say Jadon Sancho plays for North London United. Everyone and their nan could see Jadon Sancho's a baller and you should sign him up. But because everybody's focused on that, could you miss, you know, Joe Bloggs, who can be as good as Sancho, but it's not looking like it right now? Or, you know, this other Joe Bloggs who's not going to be there, but he can be a very good centre-half. Do you get it? So I'd say stuff like that. I would say attitude, because I do think we want to be amazing. We are a world-class organisation, but I don't think it, in all aspects, I don't really see players hungry and dying for success. Do you get it? I don't really see people around the club dying for success, like we have to do this thing. Like it'd be nice if we won it, sort of thing, but I don't think we're dying to be the best and be better than we are every day. So I'd say that, to be fair with you. Ziad, I believe your name is, forgive me. You have said, do you think Aubameyang will leave? Hopefully not, but I believe he will. Ryan has said, have you seen the Leeds documentary? I assume you're speaking about the one on Amazon, which I haven't, but I hear good things about it. When I get through the Sunderland one, I might even do a little review of that. I'll be with that one, my dude. JC22 has said, what was your first memory of a tournament, be it the Euros, the World Cup, and who is your favourite player in it? Big up yourself, DG. You have a positive effect on a lot of people, my dude. I've watched your content for over 2 years, and I'm a City fan, but I like to hear your takes on things because you say it how it is, no beating around the bush. Take care, my dude. Thank you very much, my guy. And, you know, before I get with your question, I can't put into words like what that makes me feel. That gives me an enormous sense of pride, my guy, because it means that I'm being transparent, I'm being the man I'm trying to be, and I'm being, you know, I'm being myself. So it's nice to see you taking that. Obviously, it's lovely to hear you like my content and you've been tuning in for 2 years. So I thank you for your consistent support. But in relation to your question, first memories undoubtedly got to be 2002 World Cup. Remember that vividly. Remember people crying in primary watching the games. Remember it, man. Like, remember it vividly. So I'd say that one, my dude. I'd say without a doubt. Obviously, you've got the Euros in, without looking like an idiot, 2004. That was there where Greece won it. I remember that vividly. But I'd say favourite one would be, pardon me, 2002. And favourite players, it's got to be the man that scored that mad goal against Seaman. It's got to be Ronaldinho. Obviously, he had the 3 R's, but I'd say Ronaldinho. That's potentially where I really fell in love with that player, man. Ronaldinho, man. Without a doubt, Ronaldinho of that tournament, my dude. By a landslide. Shout out to the other Brazilian man that was there, but Ronaldinho. Moving forward though, and I really enjoyed the 2006 World Cup. I didn't really enjoy 2010. I didn't really enjoy I liked 2010, but I didn't really feel like. In fact, I'm lying because that was the one Spain did. I didn't really feel was it 2014? Yeah, 2014 weren't really felt. 2010 was a bit. 06, I really was immersed in it. True say I was in primary. It was last year primary, but I really liked 2006. Like, I felt you had Zidane, you had Brazil. Obviously, I support England, and it obviously used to always end in nonsense for us. Wait, wasn't 2010 the World Cup? Ozil did a mad thing. I'm sure Ozil did a madness against England in that World Cup. I could be wrong, but yeah, I'd say 2002, my dude, man. Moving on to the next question. Faris has a couple of questions. He said, before you used to see players from the academy transfer from club to club, but now that is not the case. Is there more of a focus on players that are there from a very young age, and why is that a thing now? Not too sure what you're asking me specifically, my dude, but if you're asking me in relation to Arsenal, we've seemed to tone it down in relation to the foreign imports and focus more on homegrown. I don't know the specific reason, but maybe, maybe we're tired of losing out on targets. Maybe we're tired of, seeing them go for nominal fees and become good players, whether that's our fault or not. Maybe we just genuinely believe that, we want domestic players to be at the forefront, and we've got some great players in Hayland. Why not utilise them? Because obviously a number of players that we brought in, ironically, didn't work out. And you look at Dan Crowley, I know he was sourced from England, but it didn't work out here for us. Here for him under us. You look at Marlon, you look at Gnabry, you look at Benassia. These are players that could have went on to be Arsenal first teamers, and for one other reason or another, it didn't happen. You look at Bielik as well. It didn't happen here for him, sadly. He's now at Derby, recovering from an injury. So I don't know, my guy. I really don't know. You'd have to ask someone at a club. You've said, what's your favourite celebration goal for Arsenal? Mine would be Nketiah, especially the one against Everton. If you're asking me in general, anything Henry does, because that guy was just a saucy driller. If you're asking me in recent years, if you're asking me like in general, I'd say Henry. If you're asking me in recent years, it's got to be. I liked Podolski when he scored. Didn't score too many, but he loved the fans and whatnot. Would have loved to have seen Coquelin score, man. Imagine how he would have erupted. Recent years, probably just anything Lacazette and Aubameyang do, really. They're saucy drillers, so probably them two. Got time for Eddie Nketiah's celebration. Like Tyrese John Jules' celebrations in the youth academy. Obviously, he's not been exposed consistently to first team yet, but I would say that. So yeah, my dude, that would be that. Philip has said, big up yourself, Philip, man, because I see you in a lot of the comments with a lot of vids, and I assume you're a Newcastle fan. But you said, who is my player of the season in the Premier League? Difficult one, my dude. It's weird, cause I think there's been a lot of good players, but I don't really feel there's been like, what was it, last year or the year before? It's like Mo Salah is clearly like, everybody's playing good, but Mo Salah is there, other man are not. I think you can say, Kevin, but then you can say Mane, but then you can say this guy and that guy. Do you get it, my dude? And, obviously we're not winning the title, but I'm not going to stop my Aubameyang agenda, because it's all we've got. Playing on the flanks, still scoring goals, has to be in all teams of the season. But I'd say at a push, on the joke one, as an Arsenal bias, of course, Aubameyang or Bukayo Saka. But on a serious note, I'd say for me personally, it's between Sadio Mane and, off the top of my head, and Kevin De Bruyne, and I would give it to Mane. I think Mane's, if I had to really give it to someone, I think Mane, because I think even if you really scrutinise it as well, and you look at, I'm sure if you put all the, you know, the goals Liverpool man have scored, I'm sure Mane, forgive me Liverpool fans, if someone help me in the comments, Mane's goals have been the vital ones. Like, there's been times, I'm sure there was one against West Ham, and I don't have any other examples off the top of my head, my guy, but I'm sure, you know, a couple of times when Liverpool needed a goal and it was looking like they might lose or they might drop 3 points, Mane was popping up with something, or if not that, an assist. So I think Sadio Mane, my guy, really, the best RC1 has said, the best. Sorry to hear about your job, DG. Keep strong and pushing out content. Thank you very much. You'll have more opportunities coming your way. I hope so, my guy. But you have said, what do you think makes the perfect centre-half? Over time, I feel this has changed a lot. If you look at who was heralded as the best in particular eras, Baresi, Beckenbauer, you know, Nesta, Maldini, Cannavaro, Rio, Puyol and Van Dijk, they all offer something different to the role. Of course, you're 100% correct, because obviously with time, it's probably become more of an importance to be able to play out from the back and you know, be polished with the ball. Like before, that was just seen as a luxury. It wasn't somewhat seen as it was seen as a luxury. It wasn't seen as a requirement. Now you kind of have to be a very good ball player. So yeah, it's a difficult one. I do think in the game now it's gonna a bit gobbledygook, because I do think, you know, you've got to marry the modern day requirements with what a defensive role's always been about. But for me, it's a real big pet peeve that the first thing is, are they good with their feet? You can play out from the feet. But I've seen defenders like they're crap defenders, but they can play out from the back. So what does that mean? But perfect centre half. It'd probably be Rio or So or someone like that out of the players I've actually watched, really. I feel Sergio Ramos is a good defender, but I think if you're honest, there's a lot of centre-halves. If you was to put all the modern ones and present day and legends and all these centre-halves next to him, I don't think he's got a leg to stand on, really. I would say for me, it's awareness. His positioning and awareness. It's always thinking. It's being street smart, because the best defenders read the situation before it's happened. Everybody sees the glamorous, you know, he's, you know, a striker's ran in and he's made a lovely last-ditch tackle. He's the last man. But nobody praises that defender who's clocked that same situation is going to happen. He might have either dropped off a couple of yards to give himself some space, or he might have engaged and been aggressive and snapped in. So I'd say the best thing is being proactive. For me anyways, I'd say it's being street smart, the best positioning. Everything else is a bonus, really, because if you've got good positioning and awareness and anticipation, that can make up for your lack of pace. You know, if you know, do you get when you know to step out or step back in, I'd say that's fundamental. Obviously, you would like some height, you would like some physique, you would like a bit of recovery pace. So yeah, man, I mean, they've all got different things. All the names I'm looking at where you said here, they've all got things you could say would make them the perfect defender or perfect centre-half, if you wanted to be specific. A couple of these names you said have actually done quite well at fullback at a time in their careers, man. You look at Maldini at fullback as well as centre-half. You look at, obviously, Ramos has been a right-back, maybe more so, a more quality centre-half than that. I'm sure Puyol's even done a spell there. Out of all the names that you've listed here, all the defenders, Rio would probably be the one that I like the most, along with Puyol. Probably Puyol edges it. But yeah, man, lovely question. Good thought-provoking question. And nonetheless, thank you very much for your positive comments in relation to my personal situation, my dude. And thank you very much for everybody who said something like that in general. Kieran has said, considering Adil Ayush's contract is apparently running out, should we sign him? He seems to, I saw online yesterday, apparently PSG are close to an agreement, but he's someone I've watched a lot. You've seen me make multiple videos on, and I would love him, my guy, man. It would be a fantastic young signing for us, but probably isn't going to happen. Adrian has said, what is your predicted Arsenal 11 next season? I don't know, my guy. There's no way I can know that, but if I had to list a couple of players that, if I was Arteta, would be in my thinking for next season, I'd say Torreira, Aubameyang if he's here, Bukayo Saka, Martinelli, Kieran Tierney, Leno by default. Everyone else is really up in air, if I'm completely honest with you. Pepe as well, by default we have to persist with that one there. So yeah. E has said, everyone is really bored without football. What are you doing to keep yourself busy? And is there any movies or TV shows you'd recommend for everyone? Well, I've been watching the Sunderland show. I was Sunderland Till I Die or something like that. I watched the Tiger King documentary. What else have I done? Ozark, Money Heist, all that, The Wire again. Bare of them sort of things there, man. I'd say that's all I'm doing. And in relation to keep myself busy, first and foremost, you know them annoying tasks you always say you're going to get round to? I'm going to sort out all these letters and shred them. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. All these little things, I've been getting on top of them because, you know, it breaks up the day nicely. So I'd say that. I'd say really trying to learn new skills, really putting in a shift with new skills, really trying to do what I can in that regards. And just making a crap load of content, because for me it's kind of therapy, especially with the news. You lot know I found out not too long ago. It gives me something else, really. So I'd say that. Thomas said, which players who left our clubs to join rivals do you have? Apologies, people. It cut out, obviously. My camera can actually only technically record for 21 minutes. Clearly, we've gone over that. But before that happened, Tom said, which of the players who left our club to join rival clubs do you have little to no ill feeling towards, and which do you consider traitors? Well, if we can't call a spade, all the men there are traitors. Nasri, Van Persie, Sagnar, listen, I got a lot of love for Sagnar. You know, all the Alexis, they're all pagans, really and truly. Time is a healer, so admittedly, with Van Persie, with Cesc, and with Nasri, I wouldn't say I have as much ill feeling towards them just because time's passed, football's moved on, I don't really give a crap anymore, sort of thing. If I had to list one, it'd probably be Alexis, man, because I think he's the case of, apologies for knocking the screen, Alexis is a case of, what's that saying they say? The hottest loves have the coldest ends. And, you know, Alexis, when I think of Alexis Sanchez, like even now, I'm fading into my memories of there are many times I was going to the Emirates and he's changing the games. And I remember one game, we was messing around on Boxing Day against QPR and he just changed the game for us. And I think he even missed a penalty. He was the first real, like, I knew Ozil was quality, but Alexis really made me believe in this thing, really made me believe in this club's projects and stuff. I think Alexis was a quality player, and, you know, he was the first player I got since Thierry Henry on the back of my shirt, and like you saw, the pagan thing. Pardon me. So I'd probably say Alexis, if I had to, but it is what it is in that regards, really and truly, man. Potentially Cesc as well, maybe because of how the way Cesc handled himself when he left. And I mean, you know, I don't begrudge him for joining Chelsea. If we didn't put an offer on the table for you, we did it. But if I just to answer your question, you maybe Cesc, but they're all equal, man. But if I had to pick, it'd be Alexis, just because it's more recent. Marshall said, when are you going to have me on your show? Whenever you want, my guy. Whenever you want. Soon. K-Cell Rower said, are you religious, and if so, what religion? I'm not particularly religious, really. I do believe in God. I do believe in the Proverbs. I do believe in faith, really and truly. I do think you have to believe in something you can't typically see. And I do also believe in, especially in relation to religion, most people, I'm not saying no one's religion's a lie. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm saying, like religion, I think genuinely believe in life. Anything you've ever thought, whether even your name, your family, anything you think you knew religiously, you have to be prepared for it to be a lie one day. For someone to tell you it's a lie, it don't make sense. And like, if someone was to ask me, like, you know, every experience you've gone through, everything you think you know about everything is a lie. You have to be prepared, and many people don't want to have that. I think religion is great, and it provides a lot of great faith, but I also think it sadly is harnessed by a lot of individuals to do bad and create sheep mentality. So yeah, man, I definitely believe in God, if that's what you're asking me. Millie has said, do you rate the expected goals and assist model as a valuable metric of goals, of football, or is it irrelevant? I hope you're in good health. All the best and stay safe. You too, Millie. Yeah, of course, because if I'm looking at a striker and I want to see is, you know, if I'm looking at him with my eyes and watching him game in, game out, and it helps you paint a picture, and you see expected goals. While obviously people can fall below them or exceed them, it's a good indicator. I'm a fan of stats when the relevant stats are implemented appropriately. I think in today's day and age, there's too big, broader stats, and if you don't know what you're looking for, you're not going to be able to find a picture, sort of thing, people. So great question, but I'd say that's my answer. Kales asks, Kelly, mispronunciation, another one who's always saying nice things on Twitter, big up yourself. You said, realistically, which players do you think we can get rid of in the summer to get a load off the wage bill? And considering this corona thing, I believe it will cool down the market and players will stay fat and happy at this club. Your thoughts? Nobody knows, my guy. I don't know what's going to happen in relation to this corona thing, how it's going to impact contracts, negotiations, contract renegotiations and renewals, new signings. I do agree it makes it a bit trickier and things. But if we had to move players on, I mean, you've got to look at Lacazette, contracted until 2022. You've got to look at that one. You've obviously got to look at Mustafi, present day. You've got to look at Socrates. Kolasinac, considering he could be the third choice left back, contracted until 2022 as well. Somewhere you need to look at. The Mkhitaryan's, the El Nenes, I'm pretty sure you know these are the guys that need to go. So I'm not going to insult your intelligence with them sort of man there. But I'd probably say these are the names really. Mkhitaryan might get a move because he's playing decent for Roma. If they lowball us and we just accept it, he's someone that can be moved on. So yeah, man, I think Mustafi could be moved on. But again, do I think all of them are going to be moved on? Potentially not, my guy. So you're right on that one. Who else we got? Tripper said, thoughts on Saka playing left back long term? Is he capable? And if so, the potential impact this has on Kolasinac and Tierney. Well, kind of going on from last question, from Kolasinac, it puts his place under threat because, you know, for the squad it's good, but, you know, someone's going to miss out. I think Saka can have a future at left back, same way left winger, because he's good at both. I believe he can be a winger. I believe he believes he can be a winger because he does say it in simple, humble ways that he don't want to play left back. But things can happen. I think let's just see where it goes, man. I really don't know. I think he's got a great chance to be a winger. Obviously, with being a winger, we're going to need to eventually look at Saka and say, you know what, can you get us 10 goals, 10 assists, all competitions, or get us anything close? Or at fullback, obviously, the need for goals and assists is a bit less, but he needs to improve defensively. And I think Saka's done good defensively, but if we're honest, has his performance, just to look at it properly, his performances at fullback, are they great defensive performances, or all his highlights coming in the attacking sense? And is he really playing against people that are scrutinising him and really testing him 1v1 and really getting down his sides and linking up and all these things? You can't say that. Obviously, he's not a natural. He's filled in many a times at fullback in the academy days, but he's not a natural fullback. He's just a natural, intelligent player. So you will see these shortcomings. So who knows? I think he's got a fantastic chance at both. But me personally, I think it's on the wings. But I think it's in the balance, my guy. Love for your question, nonetheless. Wire said, which positions are the eye tests most important for? All of them. All of them. All of them. Every single one of them. Potentially strikers, because you know goals inflate numbers. Like goals can, like a man might score 4 goals this week, 1 goal next week, and then bag the others, and people see that he's a prolific player. But when you look at him, his general play is not the best, and he's stat padding. So I'd say strikers was the first one that came into my head. But I believe the eyes need to be the first and foremost what you use to look at a player, and then stats and these other things you use to help paint a picture. So yeah, Bogan Gooner said, what's your favourite stovetop burner? I'm a big fan of the front right, but the back left is good too. Bit of a random one. I'd say the front left as well, my guy. Front left, the one right there. Front left, yeah. Max has said, how are you just in general? That's nice, man. Nobody asks me how I feel. I'm good, Max. I'm good, man. I'm good as you can be with, you know, what's going on in society, with obviously what I've alluded to, my personal situation, with, you know, just having goals that I want to achieve myself, and some have been stopped because I couldn't, obviously because of this corona thing and other things. So I'd say I'm good, man. I'm good, my guy. I hope you're the same. I'd say I'm good. In a bit of a reflective mood, in a bit of a hungry sort of mood. Literally, I'm hungry at the moment, but hungry to really get my life back on track, really to just, you know, make my dreams come true, really. I feel like my back's been pushed in the corner, and I always tell you, like, you have 2 choices. You either curl in a ball and accept it, or you fight back. And I feel the cerebral in me coming out again, man. Like I already told you, like, there's a cerebral person in me that doesn't stutter, that can pronounce every name, that is very calculated, and you'll have it too as well, people. Yeah, that fire in my belly, man. So I'm on that thing, my guy. So I'd say I'm good, man. Thank you very much for asking, though, Max. Hafuti, I believe your name is. How big do you think the largest transfer fee will be this summer, with all the talk that transfer fees will be limited and most likely smaller fees? Not a clue, my guy. I'm not an agent. Don't work for no club. Do not know until we see it, my guy. Because on one hand, you're still seeing Neymar linked with Barca. You're still seeing Mbappe to Madrid. You're still seeing Pogba to Madrid. You're hearing Griezmann this place, Dembele that place. Martinez of Inter to Barcelona, the same thing. But, you know, it probably will be impacted. So, I don't know. Maybe football can go back to normal when 50, 60 60 million pounds is seen as whoa sort of money. Not this, you know, 50 million is buying you Sigurdsson. No disrespect to Sigurdsson, but is he worth 50 million? No, clearly not. So hopefully it goes back to normal, but who knows? As Sean has said, if you could have anyone at Arsenal, what would your starting lineup be? I'm not too sure for that, but if I could sign players right now, clearly I would sign the Messi and Mbappe's and things like that, people. So if it wasn't a thing, and I could have anybody I wanted at Arsenal, I'd say what? Centre half, well, in goal. You know, I'll stay with a couple of the present ones. I'll say Leno, centre halves, Varane. Easily Varane and probably Saliba. Right back, Semedo. Left back, we'll keep it with Tierney. In midfield, Torreira, Szoboszlai and Hervites. Up front, Gnabry on the left, Aubameyang through the middle and Pepe on the right. Martinelli, I've forgotten you. Saka, I've forgotten you too. These lot would be part of my team. But I'd say if it wasn't a thing, it'd be that, really. And, you know, I could sit here and talk about how much I like Mane and Salah and Kane and this guy and that guy, but that would be my thing. Octas has said, thoughts on who will replace Aubameyang? Not a clue, my guy, man. Not a clue. If it was out of Odegaard, Dembele and Baidu, I really like Baidu of... I forgot his name that way. He plays AZ Alkmaar now. Brain fart there. But it'd probably be that. But all of them probably are not currently of the standard to right now directly replace him. So it is what it is in that regards. Tariq has said, what's your thoughts on Kyan Fitzjim? He's a decent technical player if I'm talking about the right player, and he's the Ajax lad, the 16-year-old. Really like how he carries a ball when he does get the opportunity. But I don't know too much on him. That's the only opinions I have. You obviously know more about him than me, my dude. Finally, Count Draxler has said, do you think Matt Smith will have a good chance in the first team next season? I think he's done all he can and is doing all he can to at least make his debut. In relation to making it long-term at Arsenal, how long's a piece of string? He plays in a position that is congested, a position that Arsenal typically always bring in a midfield. Did you get it? Like we brought in Guendouzi. Next summer we've got Ceballos. We're being linked with Szoboszlai and Partey and all of these sort of players, people. So I think he's going to have a good career. I think he's incredibly underrated, Matt Smith. But, you know, really don't know, my guy. I think he's a good player, though, man. And I think he's done all he can, if the opportunity presents itself, to be included in cup competition or train with the first team and the rest of these sort of things. I don't think I've got any more to add, people, and it's been a terrific Q&A, and I'd like to say thank you very much for your consistent, you know, support of all my videos, because it can't be easy. All your positive words, not just in relation to my current situation. It means a lot. It's been enjoyable. Please like, subscribe, share up the vid. Please comment with more Q&A questions, or I can't do this. But until we meet again, people, deluded.